Hello, everyone. For those of you who I've not met before, hi. For those of you I saw last week, welcome back. My name is Storm, and I'm going to be taking you through another Illustrator Creative Challenge. It's quite an exciting one today. Oh, I see people in the chat already. Wow, there's a lot of people. Hi, Voodoo Val. Hi, Oliver. I'm looking at Behance over here. Hi, Z or Z. I'm not sure how we say it in the UK. Hey, Pixie. Hi, Clever Devlin and Carol and Ashraffle. And over on YouTube, we also have Pixie and Voodoo Val and Tay. Oh, and Ryan. Hello, everyone. Right. So, if you were with me last week, you would have seen that we were putting down the foundations of setting up your workspace. So you had a nice speedy workflow to get going, and it was all super efficient. I think that was the key word for last week's stream. But today, as the stream title suggests, we are looking at shapes and patterns and more. So we've got quite a few exciting things to get started with today. As always, there is a starter file. It'll be somewhere in the description, or someone will post it in the chat below. So feel free to download that because I will be referencing it today. Oh, we have someone from, I thought that said Australia. I need better glasses, clearly. Hello from Austria. Hi, Karina. How are you? I do not have background music, no. I do not. Should I? Maybe I'll consider background music for the next stream. Anyway, shall we get started? Oh, and as always, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. I will try my best to get to them. So let's start with another foundation in Illustrator. And that is shapes, building the base shapes. So this is in your starter file. Thank you, Voodoo Val, for dropping the starter files there. Right, base shapes. Illustrator, just the same way as when we looked at the workspaces, there are a couple of presets you could use for workspaces. Same thing with shapes, and you'll find with a lot of tools in Illustrator, actually, they try to do a lot of the work for you. So you can see here that I've created some of the base shapes. You've got squares, you've got an ellipse, you've got, that's not a polygon, that's got too many sides. Hexagon? I did math at one point. Don't come for me, okay? And you've also got a star. There are a couple of ways that you can create these base shapes. I'm going to take you through a couple of them now. Now, over on your toolbar over here, you can see me hovering over it. If you click and hold down, you can see all of the shapes, and there's a couple of ways you can apply those to your artboard. First, you need to have a layer available. First one, you can just click on the artboard, put in your width and your height, say okay, and there's your shape. Quick and easy. That's one way of doing it. If you're a very numbers-based person, if you're doing something very particular, this will work quite well for you. Oh, someone's singing along. Oh yes, Pixie View. Yes, by the way, if you will probably be quite familiar with Pixie View. That is my little sister and the creator of the Animation 101, 201, 301, 401 series. Be sure to look out for that in the future. Oh, hi, Jana, and Frank. Hello, hello. Where was I? Oh, yes. The other way of creating a shape is you click and drag. It's number 2. Hold Shift, click and drag to constrain proportions. That's a mouthful. And if you hold Alt, it drags out from the center point. So you've got 3 ways of creating that shape, which is also pretty useful. With the polygon and the star tool, things are a little bit different. So if we double click on the artboard, now it gives you an option to select how many sides you want. Same with the radius. So if we do 100-point radius, and then what's a 7-sided shape? Septagon? I'm just embarrassing myself now. I'm just embarrassing myself. Probably someone in the chat will know. You can have a 7-sided shape. Same thing with the star now. clicking on the shape, and on the artboard, you can choose how many points you want, your radius, your inner radius, and your outer radius. And there is your star. Now, it's all very well and good. We're laying foundations. I know it sounds a bit basic at the moment, but this is important to move on to our next step. So Illustrator makes some base shapes for us, which is all well and good, but we can combine those shapes to make something more unique. So, for example, over here, I've got a crescent moon. You'll see all of this in the starter file when you have a look. But we can create this crescent moon shape, by example, by putting two ellipses down and then merging them or removing them, actually. Why am I using brown? Such a boring color. I know it's the color of the year and stuff, but oh my goodness. Let me change the color. Oh, I'm changing the color of the stroke. Let's not do that. All right. So the next technique we're going to look at involves us using the Pathfinder. Now, you may have your workspace set up differently from mine, but if you go to Window and scroll all the way down to Pathfinder, you'll see this window open. Now, this is what we're going to use. Yes, we do have to do the basics first. I love basics. Basics are fun. I'm going to change the color of the second one just so you can see what I mean. So I'm going to overlay these two. Actually, let me add a background stroke, maybe the white one, make it a little bit thicker. Okay, so we have our two circles. Now, if I wanted to make a crescent moon, you see these shape modes just over the top? If you hover over them, you can see a couple of different options. So if I was to, for example, is it better to use a star or a polygon tool to make a triangle? Actually, Tay, I would probably use a square, use the rectangle, and then that would remove one of the points, which I'll come back to and show you, because obviously we're going to merge shapes, but you can either create shapes from scratch using the pen tool, or by adding or removing anchor points from existing shapes. But if we were to select both of these circles and then click on the Unite tool, speaking of butts, we have this lovely butt shape here, and that merges the shapes together. But if, for example, I want to try and make this crescent moon shape, you see the second one here, it minuses the front one. So I select both of them and then click minus, and there we go. We have our crescent moon. Now you can get a lot more creative with that, but that's the basic idea of how it works. And then secondly, well, there are lots of other options that you can play around with. If we do exclude, we can remove the inner shape as well. So there's lots of very interesting options you can do there. Ah, no problem, Tay. There's a question from, thank you. It's been a brown kind of year so far. It's January. We're just starting. So there's that one. That's a really interesting way of creating shapes. So Pathfinder. Oh, there is also the shape builder tool over here as well, which you can see. Actually, why don't I quickly give you an example of how the shape builder tool works? So I'm going to draw a whole bunch of circles. And say for some weird reason, I want to combine all of these together. I'm not judging. You click on the shape builder tool. Now you see when you hover over a group of these shapes, the cursor has a plus on it. Now if I was to click and drag, it merges all of these together into one shape. Likewise, if I was to hold the Alt button, it goes into a minus. So I can just remove sections like that. Which is pretty cool. I love how quick and efficient it is. But is a waxing croissant waxing crescent or a waning crescent? I don't know. Whichever one makes you happy. So that is a really simple way of creating shapes. Now there's other things we can do with shapes, obviously, which is patterns. So why don't we move on to patterns next? So let's create some patterns using some base shapes. So again, we're going to just stick with the base shapes. Let's go on to a square. Let's use some interesting colors. Give me some colors. I need a color for a stroke and a color for a fill, please. Did I say, I thought I said waning, not warning. Oh, Pixie said warning. Wax on, wax off. I need 2 colors. Come on, you lot. Give me 2 colors, please. I know there is a bit of a delay, so I'm gonna give you a few more seconds. A few more seconds here. Looking around my room for inspiration as well. Oh, I see red. I have a red jacket on the wall. I said red. Red jacket. Purple and, oh, Oliver got there first. Okay, purple and orange. So we're gonna do a purple fill and a orange stroke. Okay, cool. So we are going to turn this into an interesting pattern now. So there's a couple of ways that you can do things like fancy patterns. But before we get there, actually, I want to add a few more things. Let's add an ellipse in there as well. 50-50. Yeah. Let's add that. How happens if we reversed it? Oh, that's quite cool. Yeah, we're going to go with this. I like this. All right, so I'm going to turn this into a group. So there's a couple of ways that you can turn these objects into patterns now. Chartreuse? What is that? I feel so uncultured. I have to go look up what that color is now. Is that a type of blue? Bixie says yellow. Okay, well, we'll add these colors in for the next example I will show you. So, patterns can be done in a variety of ways, kind of like everything. It just depends on what sort of effect you're going for. I think that's the way we'll do it. So, one way is you can go to Object, Repeat, and click on Radial. Kind of looks like cards and stuff. And immediately it's going to take whatever object or design you've drawn and put it into a radial repeating pattern. You've got a couple of panels, handles on the side, which change the amount of instances. So that's the number of times this particular object has been repeated. This handle here changes where the pattern starts and stops repeating from. Oops, I got rid of all of them. There we go. And then the rest is just moving your size. Oh, it's a greeny yellow. I can see it animating already. Everything's always animating with you. Okay, so that's one option, which is a pretty nice one. Of course, you can, if you need to, open up the Properties tab, and then you've got your options here. So you can change your repeating, you can change your diameter. Oh, from this one here, forgot to mention this handle, which is quite interesting. Okay, so that's one. Let me undo. Oh my goodness, I have to undo so much. There we go. Wonderful. All right, so actually let me make a copy just in case I go too far. So next one, let's have a look at Object, Repeat, and then Grid, which does what it says on the tin. You've got 2 handles here, one to add more repeating grid patterns horizontally and vertically. Then you can change the spacing between them, again, vertically and horizontally. That's 2 ways of making a pattern. And then the third way, how much time have we got left? 10 minutes. Yeah, it's fine. Third way, using our original shape again. Let's just realign that to the center. Yu-Gi-Oh! Oh goodness. You know what? I did think that. It's definitely not Yu-Gi-Oh! Don't get me in trouble, but I can see it. So from here, the last way I'm going to show you how to make a pattern is by going to Object, and then most obvious one, Pattern, and then Make. So this is going to open up in a new window, and this adds your pattern to swatches. Now from here, same as everything else, you can go through the new window that pops up, and it gives you a couple of options. So you've got different tile types. You should probably change the name too. I'm not going to do that because please do as I say, not as I do. But it's good practice to name things. So you've got Grid, brick by row, brick by column, hex by column, and hex by row. And that basically just changes the shape in which your pattern repeats. From here, you can change the width of the shape. So maybe I change it from 80 to 50 so they kind of overlap each other. I can change which way it overlaps. It's 50 and 50. And if we look a little bit further down, you've got copies. So you can see from 7 by 7, 9 by 9. Once you're done, you can kind of see it back here. Click done. And now here's the magic. So let's say we create a circle, a brand new circle. We'll make it 500 by 500. And we'll put that in the center. Now, because we've made this pattern, we can apply it just like a fill color that you would normally. So we click on it. Now our new pattern is going to be up here. It's very small, but it's in the swatches panel. And then we just click on it. And then our pattern's applied. Super simple, super easy. But now here comes the challenge, right? We are going to put it all together. So here's my Blue Peter moment. The amount of time I could have saved if I knew patterns was that simple. But that's what I'm here for. I'm hoping it helps. So here's one I made earlier. We got a lady over here. So what we're going to do is use our shapes, our base shapes, merge them together, and then make a pattern. And I'm going to show you how you can apply it. Obviously, you can make these patterns and apply them to wallpapers and things like that. But this is going to be an interesting use case that you might want to consider. Now, first thing I want to add, oh my goodness. Let me group her together first. I would like to give our lady here some hair. So, most obvious thing that I'm thinking of is, I got an afro. So, an afro kind of works for me. I'm going to give her an afro. First thing I'm going to do is create a circle. Then I'm going to go into repeat, radial, draw them together, add a couple more instances, add this to the back and see how that looks. Let's get rid of the outline. That kind of looks like a poofy afro. I quite like it. Cool. So I'm going to hide her quickly. I'm going to add one more circle in the center. And then I'm going to, using our Pathfinder tool, which has hidden itself again. Where have you gone? Pathfinder, oh, there you are. I'm going to merge them all together. Oh, first I need to expand the object so they can be merged. And then I'm going to merge them all together. So now we've got one shape here. So that's technique one that we've quickly done. Let me realign that back into the center. And now I'm going to make a quick pattern that we are going to apply to it because we have only got 5 minutes left. You think we can do it? Let me move these both to the sides over here. Now, I think what would be cool is we're going to, someone said yellow last time. Let's add yellow and then a greenish sort of the chartreuse color. I'm not going to embarrass myself further with that. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go to right click, transform, scale. I'm going to make a copy of this at 10 pixels. Then I'm going to group them together, go to object, blend, make, and then I'm going to double click on this blend tool over here and double click on the, there we go. Then I'm going to go to specified steps. I'm going to add a couple of steps. That looks good to me. I like the look of that. From there, actually, I might change the inner color to like an, do I want to do that? Yes, actually. If I change just one of the colors colors also blend together, by the way. Oh, hey Nuno, how are you? Do I want, yeah, I'm actually going to change this color as well to be like a blue. Oh, that's pretty cool. Okay, we continue. Now, once we've got that, all we need to do is go to object, Pattern, make. I think you can see the idea coming together here. So from here, now we're going to do something a little bit fun. We're going to change it from grid to brick by row, and then I'm going to squish it all down together. So I want the height to be way smaller. So let's look at what 50 looks like. Ooh, bit too much, bit too much. Yes, I kind of like that. I want it to look like, yes. Okay, oh, I see. I've got them all moving. Ah, that looks a lot cooler. Okay, can you see the idea coming together? I think you can. I think you can. Oh, hello from Portugal. Was I there? No, I haven't been to Portugal in a while. I hope it's warmer than it is here. It's very cold here. Okay, so now we've got this idea, which I quite like. We're going to hit done. So we'll move that over there. And then can you see the vision? I think you can see the vision, right? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to move Our Lady back into the center. With her hair selected, I'm going to click on our new pattern. Et voila! Now, while I've got a few seconds left, I'm going to show you another cool technique. But first, let me add this pattern back in. She needs the stroke back in. Now, I think the circles are a little bit on the big side. It's like scales, right? I thought, you know, curly hair, circles. I saw this pattern online and I thought this would be perfect. So here's another thing you can do. You remember I went to transform and then scale. So here's another interesting thing you can do. Instead of scaling the whole shape, if you click on transform objects and take that off, you can change the size of the pattern. So let's say I want it a bit bigger. Come on, tell me that doesn't look so cool, right? Now, if you do that, it just applies to the pattern itself, which is great. And maybe we can add something a little bit more. So let's right click, transform and rotate this time. Let's change the angle of the hair. It's so trippy. I love it. It's so cool, right? Now that, I think, is a really, really fun way of using the technique, but you can apply it to anything. Obviously, it's not just hair. It can be if you're working on products or logos or things like that. It's just a really fun way of using it. So why don't we have a quick recap? Because I know I've been talking a lot and I'm sure your brains are like, so we covered, 3 or 4 things. We looked at the base shapes in Illustrator, the squares, the circles, the polygons, which you can access from the toolbar. You can create shapes yourself using the pen tool or merging them together on the Pathfinder. Once you've got your shapes, you can repeat them in different ways, either radial or in a grid or making a pattern yourself. Once you've made your pattern, they go into your swatches and then they can be applied to absolutely everything, which is pretty damn cool. I like to think so. So with that said, that is our weekly challenge done. So your challenge is to create yourself a pattern and try and apply it to something. I think that'll be pretty interesting. Make sure you stick around because we have Idara up next with another Photoshop challenge. And I think that one will be pretty cool. But hopefully that all made sense. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. And I will see you next week. Bye bye.